put this one up first because it's the most colourful of the three snips that I've taken. Paid annual leave and paid public holidays in the OECD countries in working days. And the question at the bottom is, why do Americans have less vacation time than anyone else? And I say, does this matter? So on the far right there is the United States with 0 apparently paid holidays or paid annual leave. Sorry about that, boys and girls. Next along is Japan with 10 paid annual leave days. Seems reasonable. Canada has the same 10 annual leave days, but also 8 paid holidays. Now, a paid holiday, I'm imagining, is some sort of established or kind of religious type holidays, like Christmas Day. If you have Christmas Day off, you're paid for it, if it happens to fall on a Tuesday or something like that. So in the next lot, in the United Kingdom, Switzerland and the Netherlands, you get a much more generous 20 paid annual days of leave, but you wouldn't get paid, no, for taking Christmas off. Yeah, if you took Christmas Day off yesterday, you won't get paid for it. Presumably this is what this means. Now, don't write in and tell me that this is wrong in a small instance. It's probably wrong in a small instance, but I'm sure it's going to be right in a big instance. If I've got the completely wrong about what a paid annual leave is and what a paid holiday is, tell me that, but not, I get paid for Christmas or something. You know, keep it relevant. Now write what you like, I don't care. You normally do anyway. Right, so the next lot is loads of people, loads of countries here that get paid 2022 paid annual leave days. 2022 going right across all of the advanced nations of the world. We're done Netherlands, so Greece, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, Denmark, Germany, Belgium, Italy, all on 20, Spain, Portugal and Austria on 22. But increasingly these countries are getting more generous with the amount of paid holidays they're having. So when we get to Portugal and Spain, they get the most time off in a year paid than anybody else in the OECD. You get 22 and 13 added together to make 35 days off, where the United States don't get any days off at all paid. And then we get more paid annual leave for Sweden, Norway, Finland and France. France going up to 30 paid annual leave days. That's a whole month, but only 1 paid holiday. Maybe that's Christmas, if I'm getting this right. Finland 9, 2 and no paid actual holidays in Sweden. But there is, let's say, Portugal and Spain. They get annual leave or holidays, vacation, of 1 month, 35 days, over a month. Most everybody else gets around just under a month, and then others get things, but the United States gets a lot less. Does this make the United States, does this give us reason that the United States is the most dynamic and wonderful country in the world? Because the rest of the OECD are probably out on annual leave somewhere. They're not working, and the companies have to pay them. It is interesting, and I'll tell you why I've put this up, actually, besides the interest of that we could discuss if you wanted just on its plain face. What I see here is elasticity, and I've started seeing this elasticity for about the last 6 months. You might have noticed it in the way the presentations are coming across now. If the world was really running into really big trouble, this sort of thing would not be allowed. Allowed as in it would be analysed to pieces, and what am I trying to say? if there was real trouble in Portugal and Spain, which there's real trouble in Portugal and Spain, but they're not having a go at this. They're not pressing on these two notes and saying, right, paid holidays, they have reduced them. I don't know if that represents the amount that they have reduced, but they have reduced them. But you can see that they've reduced them, I think, in Portugal is the most, by about 5 paid annual holidays, the top blue ones, I think, something like that. But if they were really being serious, and if the world was really that tight and fighting and all that sort of stuff, they'd be saying, look, we've got to go down to the United States of 0 paid annual leave and holidays. In countries like Spain and Portugal, where they really are in serious trouble. But they're not even considering it. And that's what I mean by elasticity. There's elasticity all over the place. There are inefficiencies that can be ironed out, hit down, pushed in, tightened up, all over the place. So I don't think the world is really in that much trouble at the moment, because if it was, this sort of thing and many other sorts of things would really be coming under pressure, and there would be heavy analysis about whether countries of the OECD can get away with all this paid holidays and annual leave. Do they not have to be competitive with A, America, and B, Asia? Surely, to be competitive in this modern world, all this sort of thing has to go. No? So I think we've got a long way to go before we run into any real trouble. Right, I've put this second one in because I would have put it in first because it's of no interest. We can go straight over it. But it's not very pretty. The other one is going to look better on the website, front page. This is from Cullen Roche's comment section of the video of the blog that I quoted from yesterday about central banks and stuff, and how he says that everything always goes higher. That one, remember? And this is just one of small part of one of Cullen's answers in the comment section, which I looked upon this morning, and because I thought it'd be a bit of a laugh. This isn't MMT or MR, which is his monetary realism, or anything else. This is just how it works, says Cullen. He's brilliant in his comment section. He never gets angry, or I think he really looks at Warren Mosler and see how Warren Mosler never gets angry. He's generally always very calm and cool, calm and collected in his comment section, Cullen. This is how it works. In targeting the overnight rate, that's between banks, the Fed must manipulate rates higher if there are excess reserves in the banking system. Once it sets IOR, which is interest on reserves, the Fed can try to manipulate other rates on the curve lower, etc., etc. No, of course you don't understand it. You've got to read the whole thing to understand it. You know, you need the global thing round it. You can't be expected to understand that. I've just taken it out. But hopefully it just shows that Cullen's blog there about the putting things higher was a red rag to the bulls and bears. It was always going to cause trouble. Right. The last thing today from the Wall Street Journal. American workers haven't seen their incomes grow much since the recession ended more than 3 years ago. Yes, the recession ended 3 years ago. But they do have something to show for the recovery. Household debt payments are their lowest level in decades, which is helping paychecks stretch further. US households spent 10.6% of their after-tax income on debt payments in the third quarter of the year, the lowest level since 1983, according to recent released Federal Reserve data. Add in other required payments that aren't classified as debt, don't ask why, such as rent and auto leases. The figures rise to 15.7%, also near a 30-year low. And that made me think, we know about the Fed forcing rates higher and making them go lower. So debt repayments that are on variable rates, certainly, or you're taking out a new loan, are lower, so your monthly payments are lower, and this is what this is saying. But if you can get rent and your auto lease and a couple of other things that you might be in debt for only 15.7 of your after-tax income, I think that's a bloody bargain. Really good value. I'm not surprised everyone's got plenty of spare cash to go and buy ridiculous things in America if you can get away with house and car for a mere 16% of your after-tax income. That seems very cheap to me. And if the fear is that it's the Fed forces rates higher and it goes through 17, 18 towards 20%, let's say, for instance, and the United States people can't afford that, I'd say there was something wrong with the rest of the 80% of stuff that Americans are spending their money on. There's elasticity there. When wants and needs are juggled a bit more, I'm sure that number can go up to 20 quite easily, and some of that 80% just needs to be squeezed away, and it really wouldn't be missed at all. But I'm sure you have something to say on the matter. See you in comments. Bye.